Hi, I will be starting with a quote from Benito Juarez, and it goes like this: El respeto al derecho ajeno es la paz, which means the respect for others' rights brings peace. Benito Juarez was a Mexican president that was very loved and very well known, and he was also very big on respect. This brings me to what I'll be informing you guys on, which is the Mexican culture. The Mexican culture is so important to me because I do come from a big Mexican family, and I'll be diving into the Mexican cuisine and what it means to us and where our food comes from. And I'll be also diving into the Mexican traditions and the Mexican holidays. So when you think about Mexican food, you think about taco shops. Tacos, something very simple like that, but our cuisine is way more complex than that. It comes from generations of recipes that have been passed down to us. And also, our recipes are homemade and homegrown. Back in the day, farms and ranches were very popular. Everyone made their own food. They had their own cattle, they had their own chicken, they had their own gardens, they grew their own fruits and vegetables. So everything was right there at their home, which was so nice and so convenient. I wish I had that now in time. Some things that my great grandma used to do was go down to the pueblo on the weekends and sell their produce and, like the eggs from their chickens. And that was kind of very common in Mexico. Everyone kind of traded food and everyone went to each other's ranches and everyone shared the food. Everyone liked to just be together as a pueblo or a city. Also, one of the biggest things in Mexican cuisine is how you eat the food that you prepare. Eating together as a family after, the mom and, your older sisters or the tias cooked all day in the kitchen. It's nice to come together at the end of the day as a family and have a big meal. Some of the top Mexican dishes are enchiladas, sopes, aguachiles, ceviche, it goes on and on, chilaquiles, menudo, pozole. I can go on forever. Which is really nice is that every city has their own different chiles and herbs. So every plate is the same, but they won't taste exactly the same because everyone creates their own salsas, their own chiles, everyone adds their own spices, which is very unique because everything has a different taste, but it's always super delicious. Another tradition in the Mexican culture is our holidays. We have a lot of holidays and a lot of celebrations. Some of the biggest ones is when a young lady turns 15, we do a quinceañera. And then one of the most famous one is El Día de los Muertos, which is the Day of the Dead. It's November 2nd, and this is the day that we get to honor our ancestors that have passed. The way that we honor our ancestor is by making an ofrenda. We make an ofrenda, which is an offering, and you always cook like their favorite meal and like their favorite drink. You put it in your ofrenda, which is surrounded by bright orange marigold flowers and a picture of your ancestor that have passed. And you typically just share a meal with them, talk to your family, remember memories. This holiday is so big in the Mexican culture that Disney actually made a movie out of it called Coco, which is the cutest movie. It's one of my daughter's favorite movies, one of my favorite movies from Disney too. And this movie was created to talk about grief and not make it scary and kind of like show the kids that we get to celebrate our ancestors and they never truly leave us, which is, I think, the super cute concept. And a thing that they also like to do on the Day of the Dead is paint their faces and dress up. The skull is what they paint on their face. They get big like crowns of flowers and everyone's just having a big party and a festival, and it's just like a nice time to remember your ancestors. I just love the Mexican culture so much, especially after doing all this research on it. I love how all the food was, homegrown. It's local, everyone comes together as a community, and I love how family is a big factor in the Mexican culture, and I can't wait to pass that down to my children. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of my personal Mexican culture.